gender is corona. And I'm telling you this with utmost honesty. Corona cannot be a she. It is a he. She cannot do the kind of things that corona is doing to people, you know. And this is on a lighter note. When I say corona is a he, it's just on a lighter note. And so anyway, corona came to me. It came to me thinking that it can be stronger than me. It hit me like this. I came back with another one. It came with two. I came with these two and the legs as well. And we were fighting like this for 2 days. And the third day, I knocked it down. So just to share my journey with corona, and I've been taking concussion. It has ginger, lemon, all those things we are told to drink when homa comes, and that's what I've been surviving on. I've had neighbors who have reached out and brought me the concoction packed in a container, and my family has also been very supportive, making for me ginger and the kind of food that I felt that I needed to eat. So, where did you get corona from? Where did you get COVID-19 from? That's a question that when I talk to friends, I'm asked a lot, but I don't know. I don't know where it came from. I had taken care of myself, and I still do take care of myself, following the government regulations, wearing masks when I need to, observing cleanliness, and observing government regulations. So I don't know. However, I have been traveling a lot. I've been traveling outside Nairobi. There's a project from the office that we had been undertaking for almost 6 weeks at the border of Nandi and Kakamega. And so we traveled to Kisumu, spent in Kisumu, and our operation area was in Kisumu, traveling to Nandi and Kakamega. So I wouldn't say that's where I contracted the disease from, but it could be. I also, while in Nairobi, we kept going to the office. When you're preparing for these travels, you have to be in the office. There are documents to be signed and all that. Although we also adopted the online system of doing things, but still we find ourselves in the office to prepare for the field work. And so I honestly don't know where it came from. And to make the matters worse, my husband went for the test and his came as negative. So it could have been in one of those travels. We traveled by road almost all the time, apart from one time I went by flight. And this is the last time, in fact, this last time that I got infected. I traveled to Kisumu by flight, but while on the ground, we used the office vehicles, and we were 4 of us in a vehicle. Sometimes it would be 5 of us. We would be there, yes, and we are wearing our masks, but believe you me, when you are with colleagues and you get used to one another, like during dinner time, you're sitting together, you are eating. You cannot eat with your mask on. You have to remove your mask. So you also, there's a possibility of infecting one another, and sometimes you even get tired with the mask and remove it. So I try to look at my journey and where I could have contracted COVID-19, but I don't know. When I came back from Kisumu, I remember telling my husband, this time, I think I have COVID. No, we usually joke about that when someone travels or even just leaves the house and comes back and like, umetuletea corona. I told him, this time I have corona. And I felt it in my system that something was wrong with me, but I didn't know what. And the moment, by the way, I came from Kisumu, I just avoided my child. I avoided my husband as well. I avoided anybody that I came across. Because I felt something was not right, and I could put my mask as tight as it can be. I came from Kisumu on a Wednesday. So on a Thursday, I went to the office. And that Thursday night, it's when I felt homa. I started coughing and I had headache. Although it was really confusing. So I didn't know whether it was fever or it was headache, because of this feeling, the head paining. But in terms of fever, joto, baridi, that I was not feeling much. And so I said, it could be corona, it could be normal homa. But what made me go to the hospital the following day, which was on Friday, it's because the cough was dry. Though it was not very consistent, it was not too much. So it was this, someone would just ignore it and continue with life. And at that moment, I avoided, I avoided people even more. And I said I want to go to the hospital. I talked to another guy, we worked together. And he's like, yeah, just go and get checked. So I called our HR. Thank God for, some policies in some offices that allow for these tests to be undertaken, because it costed me 8,500. So when I went to the hospital, at the door, the security that checked people the temperature checked my temperature, and I was like, oh my God, I hope I'm not 14. I hope it will not be too high that they will just carry me up like this and take me to the rooms where they take people. So when he checked me, it was at 6.1. I was like, eh? I felt like telling him, can you repeat it again? But anyway, I got in and started the process. And then when it came to the time when I was going to the nurse for the weight and the temperature and all that, my temperature was 34 point, I think it was 34.6. It was below even average. And I'm like, 34? Something is wrong. What is happening? Do you, like, are these guys telling me that I do not have corona? Because we've been told that corona comes with that high fever. And by that day, I felt like then either their machine is not working, both the security guy and the nurse lady, their machines are not working, or this fever thing is just not working. Like, then the time comes for the doctor, and the doctor calls me in, and I explained the same process, and so he decided to check me for malaria, because I'd been traveling, and the areas that I traveled to have high tendencies of malaria, people being infected with malaria. So I do my test and I wait, but before I got the results, I felt so bad. I felt nausea. I felt so weak. I could not even stand well. I was really weak, and I felt like I had the headache was coming back and going, coming back and going. I just didn't feel myself. I was just this exhausted person, and I went to their pharmacy, and they gave me some painkiller that stabilized me a bit. Then later I went to the doctor for the results, and he said that I did have malaria, but I had a viral infection. And I'm like, viral? So what does that mean? What's a viral infection? And he started explaining the viral infection, what it could be. It can be influenza, it can be corona, it can be normal homa. And I'm like, wait right there. Did you say that it could be corona? It's like, yeah, it could be anything. Then he's like, then he said, if you want, you could take a test of corona. I said, yes, I want. I want to do that test. So the clinic we had gone, they didn't have they don't do the test in that clinic, and he sent me to their main hospital, which is in Parklands. So when I got my medication, I decided to do the test, the corona test. So I went to this hospital that said that they were not doing it. It was now getting late in the day. I said, then I'll take it tomorrow. So the following day, which is on a Saturday, we just wake up and just lazy around the house. And my husband is like, do you still want to go and take the test? I'm like, yes, that one I'm taking. There's no two way about it. So he dropped me in the hospital, took the test, and was told I'll get the results the following day. The following day, I waited. The whole day, no result. No one is getting in touch with me. So on Monday, I called the hospital. I'm like, you people, I did the test on this day. Since that day, I've not heard from you. So I remember calling the hospital, on Monday and asking, oh, my name is so and so. I'm making a follow up. I did the test on this day. I haven't received the results. Then the guy said, okay, so the receipt that you paid with, can you check your number there? I'm like, which number? There's a number that is written. So I look for the receipt and I read the number for him. And so he says, you are Regina Motero. I'm like, yes, that's my name. So he keeps quiet. Then he says, you are positive. And I'm like, okay. Then I'm like I said, okay. Then he asked, so whom did you come with that day? Whom had you been in contact with? At that moment, what's wrong with these people? You don't give me the results on time. I use my credit to call you for the results, and now you want to use my credit to start contact tracing. You want to do your job with my credit, a job that you should have done yesterday with my credit. That one you're not doing. Conversation in loudspeaker, and my husband was hearing what was going on. So we looked at each other and just laughed. And I told him, I told you that I was so sure that I am positive. And that was the end of the story. Like, we forgot about that issue, and from that point, I'm like, so what do we do? From that point, I just decided, individually, that I was going to take care of myself. I was going to wear a mask in the house. I was just going to avoid touching things. I was going to avoid going to the kitchen. And so, anyway, long story short, the following day, the Minister of Health, mm, a lady from the Minister of Health called, and she was very kind and very nice. She talked to me. She explained the precautions that I needed to take. She asked about my house. Where do you live? How big is the house? Can you manage to get a room by yourself in that house? Does it have a toilet? Thankfully, I passed for all that. So we agreed that I was going to stay in one of the rooms, and my husband and our child are going to stay in the other bedroom. So just avoid interacting with them as much as I can, and just take the necessary precautions. And so after some time, I can't remember which day, my husband just decided, let me also go and take this test. So he took the test, and his results came as negative, and he was so disappointed. And I'm like, what? You're disappointed that the results are negative. What's wrong with you? Who wants to be COVID-19 positive, really? Who wants? And he's like, no, I knew this thing, I had it. Last night I was feeling like, the previous 2 days I just didn't want to tell you, but I was feeling so bad. So I knew this thing, I had it. And so this is disappointing. Anyway, he really, by the way, honestly seems that he had been disappointed, but I don't know why. But later on, what I came to learn and what I decided to see in that conversation is that perhaps was just feeling me and trying to tell me that I feel you, and I wish I could walk this journey with you, that I could also be positive like you, and we walk this journey together. But I was happy that he was negative, because that meant that he could take care of our daughter nicely without any interruption. Say that, in fact, if there's anything that has been hard for me is not playing with my child as I would want to. She kept coming to me and jumping on me, and wanting her face to be near my face, kissing and hugging and cuddling. But I couldn't do that, and I kept pushing her away and telling her, no, I have homa, I'm going to infect you. And at some point she said, you have corona. And I'm like, yeah, it's corona, it's also homa, and I don't want to infect you, so please just stay away from me. Though she did get it deep, what that meant, but she could still come, and sometimes I would play with her with my back, like not facing her. But that has been one of the hardest things in this journey. I had to look at the positive side of it, and the positive side of it is that I have been resting for the last 5 days, 5 working days, sleeping, eating, and doing nothing, totally nothing. And so I just told myself that this is God who brought me this rest, because COVID-19 did not take me down. As I said when I was starting, it was just the first 2 days that were extreme for me. I felt tired, I felt exhausted, I felt sick. I honestly felt sick. But then the rest of the days, it's been okay, and people kept reaching out, and how are you doing? How are you feeling? Wanting to hear me cough and cough, like someone calls me and they're waiting for me to cough. And I'm telling you, since the day I went to hospital and came back, I have never coughed. I don't know where it went. One day I was telling one of my colleagues that it is surprising me that I am so well. I am not coughing. What comes to your mind when you hear about corona? For me, before I experienced this, for me corona was coughing. Yani you cough. Ukikutana na mtu ambaye ako na corona, ni mtu ana cough, and it's coughing, consistent cough that is not going away. And then that person has high fever, like those askaris when wakitupima, fever yako hata inafika 40. And then so my symptoms really contradicted what I thought about corona. But hey, the NMS guys, the Nairobi Metropolitan Services guys, have kept calling me. There's one who called me and said that she was going to come to my house and check if I've complied with the requirements of home-based care. And I said that I had talked to someone from the Minister of Health, because the fact that someone from the ministry, or if it's an MS, or whichever was going to come to my house. In my mind, I knew that they were going to come wearing these PPEs of theirs. And that is stigma right there. From the door, from the security. Where are you guys going? Stigma in Anziapo. Then they come to my house. My child. I imagined my child would never forget that picture of those guys with their white clothes. Throughout this process, that's the only thing that scared me. That's the time I feared. I honestly feared at that particular time. All through, I had no problem. Because when my test came, when that guy told me you are positive, I wrote immediately to the office WhatsApp. And to everyone got the message that Regina is COVID-19 positive. I also did the same with a few friends. Like I felt, yeah, I can put it out there, but I didn't also want so many people calling and people thinking I'm so sick and wanting to check me. I just decided in my mind that when I get better, that I was going to share my experience. And so the NMS lady finally said, oh, you live in Dagoret North, and my clients, the ones that I'm attending, are on the other side of Thika Road, so I'll link you with someone else. And I said, okay, fine. I said, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. You've answered my prayer. And so, like 2 days ago, another guy from NMS called and he said that he was in charge of Dagoret North, and how was I doing? And these guys, by the way, they are very good. They handle you very nicely on the phone. I don't know whether physically that's how they handle you. They are so kind. Some are even telling you, you're going to come out through this strong, Regina. I can feel you're a strong person. They encourage you. You feel like you're being taken care of for real. So I did expect that from the NMS guys and the stories that have been going around. So that was a shock on me. And I mean, it's a kudos to them. And when I talked to this guy, I honestly told him, I'm so happy that you called, and I'm happy of how you've handled me, and good job that you guys are doing. And so he tells me that he was supposed to come and check my house, though he felt it was late because it was the 7th day when we were doing this conversation. He felt that it was late for him to come, but he was going to consult with his supervisor. And if the supervisor still insists that he needs to come, he was going to call me, and then we plan on a day that I'm comfortable. And I'm like, yes, just let me know what your supervisor says. So today is the 9th day, and then a MS guy told me that he will clear me on the 10th day. So what happens with the home care, you are put under a person from NMS. They're supposed to be checking on you and how you're doing. They're supposed to come to your house and check how you're doing, and if you've complied with the regulations that have been given in terms of you need to have a house that has space for you and your family members, and for you to have your own space within that house, so that then you don't infect more members in the house. They also tell you how to mix this dick and water so that you can disinfect the house. And so this guy hasn't called, as I said, and tomorrow is the last day. Yeah! Tomorrow is the last day. Tomorrow is supposed to clear me, yeah, you are okay. Now you can move on with your business. So I haven't done the test, and I decided that I'm going to do the test after the 10 days. But after the 10 days, they usually, give you a clearance that now you're okay and you can go on with your business. But then he also told me something that I found very, very informative, and I would want to share with you, is that they're also doing the test for free. I didn't know that. And he asked me if any of your contacts would want to come for the test. We are doing it for free. So that's where I'll be going after he clears me to do my second test. And I'm just excited. I mean, I can't wait for the end of this. I've been indoors for all those days. Those who know me know that I love staying indoors. So it has also not been a challenge for me. I've enjoyed my husband's cooking. Not that he doesn't cook those other days, but I've enjoyed being served, being taken care of, and just relaxing in the house. But it's not honestly, I've decided to see the positive side of it, but it's not a joke. It is not a joke. It's not something that I would wish on anyone. Even the fact that you are isolated from your family, that you have to stay on a separate room, that you have to be careful on every step that you take. But this far, Jehovah is Ebenezer. Thank you, Jesus. So that's my story. If this is your first time to interact with me in this platform, please subscribe. Hit the button down there. Please subscribe for more stories on issues of simple living, because that's my main topic. But after I am cleared with NMS, I will also share a bit of how the process was and also the results of my second test. So thank you so much for watching. Keep it tuned right here.